Listen carefully to the voice of Todd.
We're party agnostic on the program, but what we'd like to do is sort of hear all sorts of views. And if these shootings continue, I think what's important, the reason why we give a voice to a guy like Milo, or the reason why we give a voice to people like Faith Goldie and stuff, is because as extremists as they are, what it does is and Ari Goldkind always says this, is it forces a compromise somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
In this world that's becoming too PC, and that is something I'm confident in saying. It's becoming too PC. And actually, I want to go on a bit of a rant in a bit, on in terms of what everyone does on social media, which I also think is wrong. At some point, we need to get to our leaders to figure out what this middle ground is. And I don't know what it is. I'm not an expert on this sort of things. I'm not even an expert on making you laugh, and I work on a station called Canada Laughs. But what I do have the ability with this platform and this medium is to give people those voices that a lot of times aren't heard, and they're only heard through these sort of rebel platforms. And I think it's important sometimes to hear them on mainstream media.
And I think one thing, regardless of your belief as to who blame or what you should apply blame to in this regards goes to, I think this year it's very important that we all celebrate the different pride parades and pride events that are going on in respective cities all over North America, and attend if you haven't attended before, and paint the town rainbow colors as a big middle finger to anybody in any part of the world that would oppress somebody for their sexuality, the way they love, and how they love.
Isn't it so asinine to think in this day and age, as progressed as we are, to think that whether you are a certain race, whether you are a certain religion, whether you have a certain sexual preference, that would deem you as not an equal? As not only not an equal, as someone whose life that you are instructed to take. I mean, I guess I'm strong in my views, almost to the right, but I'm so liberal-minded. I'm so open. I'm so open about human beings as being equal and as being one and loving diversity that I don't even look at people with color. I don't even look at people based on a religion. I don't even look at people based on what private part they're munching on later that night. I don't see them as that. I just see them as a dude or a lady with, eyes, a nose, and a mouth, and some skin.
Yeah, but that's deep set in some religions that being gay is wrong, or it's deep set in some families for generations that people are brought up racist, and it's like
no question, and it's crazy to me that there can be, you always hear Bernie Sanders speak of a divide of rich and poor. What about the divide of people who look at us as all the same, and then that divide who look at us as being different, and not only being different, as someone who they don't value a life put on the planet. But then again, how can you fight certain people when they don't even value their own lives on this planet?
Well, change can happen, and I'm very I have faith that we can make a change in the next decade. That is very real and
do you think so?
Well, you look at
we need extinction. We need to start over. We need an ice age or something, man.
To be honest, it's and it's interesting you say that. I wrote something down today, and I'm going to read it now. I think it's an appropriate time. And feel free to interrupt me. It's not like a specific statement. It was just to kind of collect my thoughts. This shit affects me, and it affected me deeply. I'll tell you why. Remember I was in Orlando 4 weeks ago?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right.
My good friend owns a gay club in Orlando. He owns a gay resort. And the resort is for a wonderful community. And I've been there, and I've seen a drag show there, and is that what they call it? Is that yeah? And I just want to make sure I don't want to say the wrong term either. But I was thinking about him, going, my goodness, this shooter probably targeted certain areas, probably had an idea, maybe even went and visited areas to deem what was his best chance, as ruthless as this is going to sound, of killing people without them getting out. It's just so crazy thinking that someone would even think and plan something like this. And then it's even crazier to think that someone might have planned something like this or a place you've actually been at. You know what I mean? Right. Obviously, living life as a happily married straight man, I don't see gay, I just see a good time. I would have no problem going to a gay. I see a good time. And that's all it is: a party, life, love, happiness, acceptance, all that kind of stuff. And I just think what's been bothering me about a lot of this is the opinions that everybody has on Facebook and Twitter. It's been driving me nuts. People go to dinner parties, or even people with their opinions getting high in the park. I think what I really, really despise is these debates, these arguing, because I feel like it's a waste of time. A waste of time meaning that people are investing their time online in these battles as opposed to just actually, which I think we're kind of doing today, just trying to make that positive difference elsewhere. And again, let me clear this up. I agree with healthy debates. I think that's a good thing, especially if you debated in college and you have facts and points to support your cause. That is a good thing. Arguing too, which leads to a compromise. That's a phenomenal thing. If a compromise is met, which might I add rarely is, of course, except for those times if you run out of weed, Jay Brody, in the park, and then you got to call upon your dealer and you all pitch in $10 to make sure you get the weed. That's usually a nice compromise, right? You can all be back in a peaceful place. And then back to that waste of time, people will say, that sounds harsh. I'm going online. Why is that a waste of time, Todd? Maybe a lot of us don't have a radio show, international platform to formulate your opinions and share them to the world, which we've been doing today, and Milo is a big part of that. You're right. You don't have that. And there's probably a good reason for that, too. We're not asking you to waste your time. We're dealing with the realities of a situation, not the what ifs, and most definitely not going back and forth on what needs to be done, because the answer isn't around the corner, and I believe that. The fact is that we were in this together, and unfortunately these atrocities, they're not going away anytime soon, and that's back to what you were saying, Roddy. Like, it feels as if you need extinction to start over again. First and foremost, what I do believe we should be doing online is just showing that we're sad. I think that's okay. We should all feel such terrible heartbreak, as there are no words to describe the kind of terror that these victims went through in Pulse nightclub. It was their safe haven. Yes, that's right. Pulse nightclub was their safe haven, and that's how Daniel Leon David described it in an amazing article about how Pulse was not just his safe haven, but a safe haven for hundreds of LGBTQ individuals in Orlando. What's the Q is? Queer. Okay. It's a big acronym. I mean, it's great. Imagine that, though, for a second. You grow up in fear because many people won't accept your beautiful choices. And the one place you always felt comfortable, which is essentially your home, is the one place where this coward, whose name I won't use, comes to take your life, your friends' lives, your loved ones' futures, and who tries to set back your community's hope for acceptance, peace, and love.
Speaking of coward, do you know what was the other place that he scouted?
No.
There's two places his ex-wife said he scouted to do this. That spot that he did it, and Disney
Pulse.
World.
Oh, my God. I mean, none are right. Guess what, by the way? That community filled with peace and love, he's never going to mess up that fear. And as Jay Brody just said, even though this heinous, unspeakable, and downright disgusting crime against humanity happened, this cowardly shooter, I believe, has actually strengthened us. As crazy as a thought that is. How? Because the majority of irrationally minded people stand united against these types of acts. Humankind shows more compassion and togetherness in these times. So let's just stop the debating, the arguing, acting irrational on social media. Let's stop wasting each other's times. Instead, let's share stories of love, compassion, positivity. Let's share stories of acceptance, diversity, human camaraderie, and togetherness. Let's not waste our time online with our political views on how we would deal with the tragic situations. I get it. People want a voice. But sometimes we just have to accept that we can't control every issue. If murder is out of our control, why don't we let our leaders figure out how to keep us safe while we remain cautious? Again, I go back to not wasting our time arguing with Facebook friends. Rather, write letters to politicians. Do protests for what you believe in is right. Wasting your time on social media with opinions won't change what you stand for. Petitions, encouraging better voter turnout, legal and safe protests, that's what will ultimately influence change. And it might not be immediate, but it will happen. And whether you believe in gun control, or whether you believe that these type of madmen, as Donald Trump calls them, would have found another way to kill with a bomb or other things, 140 character opinions on Twitter, well, that won't stop the next attack. And that's a fact. Misinterpreting people's opinions on social media happen all the time, as one can never detect tone or inflection. So now, instead of just reading an opinion that won't affect change, we find ourselves caught up in a silly conversation that, truthfully, it wastes our precious time. And then it simply goes away in a few days, reaffirming how much it actually wasted our time in the first place. Can we get back to actual conversations and not just comments about these very serious and very tragic issues which affect us all? 140 characters cannot prove a point one way or the other. I was joking with Jay Brody yesterday. I say, Twitter's good for if you write things like, I'm eating chips. That's what Twitter's good for. Updating our status if you care. And most people don't care, and that's okay too. Twitter is good for letting people know when dangerous situations might be near, and that's going on right now in Toronto. But not for an opinion on how to deal with it. Unless, of course, you're the police or first emergency responders. Their advice, our experts' advice, that's what I'd follow. The harsh realities are this. The world has shaped itself to be the way it is today through the last hundreds of years. Sounds a little better. And it might just take hundreds of years to change it. Sucks, I know. But no immediate change of law is going to stop someone from finding a way to act brutally. These extremists will find ways to do that. And these people who, in my opinion, they're not even human, they'll find that way. And much like they'll find a one-way ticket to hell, which is probably not even a ruthless enough place for them to visit. People don't want to hear this sad truth, but radical any religion isn't going away anywhere soon. Neither are school shootings, and neither are beyond hateful and mentally disturbed people who carry out these horrendous acts of terror. They will find a way. It is our job to stop arguing and fighting on Facebook. It is our job to stop wasting people's times with opinions on how things must change online. Instead, we need to save this time and energy to our leaders of our nations who actually write the policies, who spend time updating and amending old laws, and who will debate these issues for a living, not just for likes. So let's save time and put it into a compassionate post about what the world needs right now, which is unity. Let's be realistic. On the other hand, is quite candidly, we need to be more aware. We need to be more protective. We need to be more cautious. And we need to be ready to defend ourselves. Sadly, that's what it's come down to. We live in a vulnerable world because there are people who don't care to be in this beautiful place and don't care if they take you away from it either. That is undeniable. No debate can prove that statement wrong. But don't get me wrong. I'm not here for fear-mongering. That's not what I'm about. And I'm not telling you not to live your lives. I'm actually simply imploring you to stop talking bullshit and doing this bullshit action on social media and just start living your real life again. Take action where it counts with those who can effectively influence the change you so desire. In the meantime, it's okay to accept that we need to look at ourselves and look over our shoulders more. And not be afraid to tag anything suspicious, unbiased, of course, because that will be a much more effective in the long run than what you choose to say online or tag online. And if time was wasted then trying to make this world a safer place by going online and letting people know that something might be up, well, I don't think anybody will have a problem with that. Oh, and don't report on anyone's weed dealer either. He might just look disheveled because he's actually at peace, not shaving and having holes in his pants. We should all be so at ease. One love, that's what I say.
Are you saying that we should trust our leaders, though?
I'm saying that we need to not just go and waste our times on social media. I'm saying that if you want to make change, you don't necessarily have to trust those leaders, but make sure you encourage better voter turnout to get the leaders that you think should be in place. That's where you have a voice. Make sure that you go and sign petitions, or make sure that you have these healthy protests. That's going to influence change. Everyone's wasting their times on these Facebooks and stuff, and I don't get it. On Twitter, I don't understand that. Let's share the positivity in those worlds. Let's not troll one another and create more hate.
From juvenile to gentleman, it's the Todd Shapiro Show on SiriusXM 168. Canada Laughs.
Hey, what's up? I'm Roddy. Subscribe to our channel. You're going to love it. For the rest of this episode, you got to check out our podcast online on the website. Go check it out. You won't be disappointed.